back to another servicing video from Sort 6233. This is hopefully going to be one of a series of videos which I'm going to call the Princess Project. I have here a number of incomplete bodies and chassis for the Princess Elizabeth 64201. With one Princess Victoria 6204, and my ambition is to have these up and running. I've been inspired by Chams123, who produced a lovely video a few months ago on his 3 princesses. 3 of these little darlings in different liveries, and that's what I'm aiming for, to get these up running and to 3 different liveries. I've collected these over a period of about a year now, and I've just kind of kept putting them aside. So first thing I'm going to have to do is try and sort them to see what bits I have and what bits I need. I've got a rather poor body shell at the moment with a broken buffer support, so that's obviously going to need a bit of repair. I need buffers for this one here. In fact, I might need a new body shell altogether, and I'm actually sure that there are bits missing. So the next thing I'm going to do is try and sort them so that I can see what I've got for each of the locomotives. And then I'll get started on Princess Project number 1. Some pieces together to allow me to assemble a princess. I got here my body shell, which is in reasonable condition. A couple of wee things. There should be at least a couple of pins at either side where the drawbar goes. Some of the early ones have got an actual rectangular loop. There's a little break in one of the front steps beside the buffer bar. But other than that, it's looking good. It has the etched Princess Elizabeth in the wheel arch with the red backing, and it's in reasonable condition. I've got a nice chassis, 6 good wagon wheels. I've cleaned and lubricated them. I've polished up the rims to give good contact, and I've fitted a suppressor. I've got an XO4 motor which has been cleaned, lubricated. I've loaded up the fibre washers with some nice oil. I fitted 2 new brushes, and I've cleaned the spring, the contacts, where it makes contact here and where it makes contact at either brush. I've got 2 bogies with their retaining screws. Here I've got left hand conrods and drive mechanism with the washer and the screw. On this side I've got the right hand conrod and drive with the washer and the screw. I've got a nice cylinder head with the body retaining screw, and this is the motor retaining screw. Right, let's start off with the motor. XO4 motor fits into the chassis. 2 lugs on either side of the motor fit into 2 grooves. Turn the motor around to make sure it's engaged. It has engaged in there, and the screw fits into the back to locate it onto the chassis. And there we have, in there, just tight enough to hold it. Make sure it's engaged. There we go. And the wheel should turn, we'll turn the motor. It does. This particular princess has been fitted with a little clip that fits underneath the positive brush. So I'm going to hold the brush, push back the spring, sit the clip in between the insulator and the brush, and that provides power from the pickup through the orange lead into there. This would be a good time to test it, so let me bring in my rolling rod, sit it on there, make sure it's nice and secure, and let's work up the power. Yep, that's looking very smooth. And turning it into the reverse direction, and there she goes. And I don't need a lot of power at this stage. Okay, let's continue with the assembly. I've discovered that before fitting the drive wheels, drive gear and the con rod, it's actually a good idea to put the body shell on, because the cylinder block is held in with the chimney screw. Now if you try and assemble it in this state, putting the con rods in the drive gear, and then you try and turn it around, this falls off. So what I've discovered is, if I take this, sit it in here correctly, then take the body shell and fit it onto the chassis with two little lugs that fit in beneath the cab, and that should sit in there. I'll just have to get the wires out of the way first. In there, that's good. Then put that in here, slide into the slot beneath the cab, keep the cylinder block there, and the chassis fits in here, two little lugs underneath the body shell. That's it, nice and firm, and now I can replace the chimney screw. And this will hold the cylinder block in place as I mount the drive gear. Let's try again. Put that in there, and this should sit over the cylinder post. There we go, and that's her. Nice and smooth. I'll put a little bit of oil in that once I've got it all assembled. Now for the con rods, they go with these lugs pointing up the way and into the rear wheel, into the front wheel, and rotate them so that it lines up with the center wheel. There we go. There's a spacer washer which goes in between the con rod and the drive shaft to cut down on friction. Line the drive shaft up there, and the screw, which has a deep collar, goes through to hold the whole assembly in place. And I had a nice little screwdriver, here we go, that will help. And this one here, in there, and there she goes. Looks good. Like so. And we'll do the same on the left hand side. Put the piston rod into the cylinder block, collar goes over the top, and the piston rod comes back out again. You just fit that in like so, he said, and bring it in about there. There we have cylinder block, piston drive, sorry, in there. Right, the con rod in here, like so, and it should line up with the center wheel. It does. Spacer washer on top, drive gear over that, and the connecting screw through the middle. Whoops. Right, I need to reassemble this bit. Washer on top. Drive gear there. And that looks good. Right, let's start reassembling. I've got the bogies here. Front bogie, no coupler in these early Princesses. Put it in here. Screw the collar that allows free movement of the front bogie. That's good. Now for the rear bogie. A similar type screw from the front. And she's now starting to look again like a Pacific 462. What I'm going to do now is to take her over to the test track, apply power and see if she'll run around the track. Well, I've got her sitting on the track, ready to go. So let's just apply some power and see what she does. And a nice smooth pickup. Going up towards the back end, the layout. I know that I've got a wee bit of a glitch in that part, which is coming round. Nice. That's lovely. Just going to put the power up a wee bit. Give it a bit of a boost around there. My first Princess in my Princess project. I'm hoping that I can pick up a nice little tender and make her look more like what she should be. So let's just finish off there, folks. One last trip round there and away she goes. Well, I think I've got a working Princess in my hands. This is going to be Princess number 1. And I'm going to try and see if I can get a couple more done over the next period. Weeks, could be months with the good weather coming up, I don't know. But I'll leave this one just now. Leave the video kind of open and see what comes in the next in the series. Would you believe, just a couple of days after I got her running, on eBay, a group of tenders, I think there were 3, put a bid in, got them, and there's one of them. She's got the lion on top of the wheel, which fits exactly with my Princess with the large writing. So I'm going to put this on and see how it works. 4621 Princess Elizabeth with a tender. Let's just apply the power. There she goes. That worked out pretty well. That's my Princess number 1.